We'll jump to the Menard Studio hotline right now where our good friend Luke Zeller joins us to talk. Luke is on the phone.
How's it going, guys?
What's
you guys
happening?
doing all right?
Yeah, things are good. How was your Memorial Day weekend?
Oh, it's fantastic. Be able to spend some time with the family and being able to be home, and then watched American Sniper and, watched a couple other movies. It just gets me fired up. I'm proud to be an American and appreciated the sacrifice all the people have done for us. When you go and play overseas a few times, you realize America's the greatest country. I'm pretty biased.
I bet that does open the eyes real quick.
No, I've not seen American Sniper yet. A good movie?
Whew, great movie. Well, I read the book first. I guess that's that Notre Dame nerd in me. But the book's incredible, and just the way that I've actually read just about every Navy SEAL book out there, from Lone Survivor to Red Circle with to Howard Watson's book, and you get in those books. The training that they have is unbelievable. I mean, as an athlete and trying to be your best at whatever you do, when you look at their training and mentally what they go through, they put themselves through unbelievable training. When they get in any kind of situation, it's not tougher than what they had in training, and it's incredible to be able to see that.
Well, we brought you in today, Luke. One, we wanted to get some thoughts on some of the things that are going around the NBA, because I'm sure you're keeping an eye on that with the playoffs and everything going on. But we know, too, that you're bringing your Distinxion Basketball Camp back to town. It'll be down at the downtown YMCA here in Evansville, June 4th through the 6th. And how long have you guys been running this organization?
Yeah, so we're coming up on 6 years. We've had over 3,000 campers, and we keep trying to get better weekend to weekend, year to year. And, as our campers come, we try to make them better, but we also try to push ourselves and push our coaches. I've said this every year, but I think this is the best group of coaches I've ever had. I got 20 coaches that are on with me for the summer, and they're all volunteering, and they're getting some internship experience, but, man, they are good. I got a couple that are playing college basketball, a couple college basketball managers. One was academic All-State. We've got a national championship in NAIA. And just an unbelievable group coming in to coach and be able to work with each of these campers. And then I love being there. I don't know who has more fun, me or the kids. And so it'll be a lot of fun.
Well, I know it was about a year ago you guys brought it to town, right? Almost
Yep.
to the day, wasn't it? And myself and Bobby went over and filmed a little video with you, had some fun, and you schooled us on every aspect of the game. But what I took away from that, as expected, because look, I can stand under the hoop and try to get a rebound and put it back up, but that's about the extent of my game there. But what I took away from that is that it's not just for you guys. It's not just teaching the fundamentals of basketball to these young kids that are looking to play this sport competitively as they get older, but there's more to it. I mean, you're trying not only to make them better basketball players, but good people and good citizens all around.
Definitely, and I think, no matter what, whether you're Michael Jordan or you're a guy that's just trying to be able to make the rec league team, the ball at some point is going to stop bouncing for you, or that's not what you do as your occupation. And what's left with you as a person of character, as who you are and who you represent yourself and represent your family is even more important than that, because that's not going away ever. And using basketball to really train yourself in that and be able to develop that is awesome. And I think it's a great tool, something that me and my family have learned, and we love just being able to pass it on. I still say that, and I think it's something I try to work on every summer, but I still say that people in Indiana are the smartest basketball players and the best shooters. And I work every day to be able to train the next generation to make sure we get to prove that every day. I think that's really, from a basketball standpoint, the way to do it. And then if you can have people that do things the right way, it goes a lot further. No matter what you do, whether it's basketball, football, you're in the band, whatever it is that you do, what you do best every day, and then who you are as a person is developed through that. And I just think that carries so far. And you watch the NBA playoffs, you see good and bad of those things. And you see things that people do things the right way, people that work hard and develop the right way, and some that toe that line a little bit more.
Luke Zeller, our guest on Menard Studio Hotline. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville, 1053 online, ESPNEvansville.com. Luke and the Zeller family bringing their Distinxion Youth Basketball Camp back to the downtown YMCA June 4th and 4th through the 6th, I should say. And you can find out more on, is there still room to sign up, or are you guys about full?
Yep. we got the Distinxion.org. We got room to sign up. So DISTINXION.org. You can sign up right online. Any questions, email me, Luke Zeller at Distinxion.org. I will either answer your question or have somebody help you out and get back to you as soon as possible.
How did we get the X in Distinction? How'd that happen?
So X is actually part of our growing up. A huge part of growing up, and the reason why we do things we do is part of our faith. And so my wife actually came up with that. X is actually the Greek symbol for Jesus Christ. And so that's actually why it's there. And for us, for me, faith is a personal decision. It's not something that I'm going to tell you that you need to make a decision or tell somebody else. But personally, for us, that's why it's there. So instead of making that just right up in front of your face, we like having it in there for those that's the reason why they do it. That's the reason why we do it. But for others, I don't, you know what, that's not a decision. I'm not going to make that decision for you or for anybody else. And I just want to be available to that. So, yeah, that's where we got that from. And then it's kind of fun, too. I mean, we did the P90X for a while, and there's definitely something different about the X.
Now, you got a couple of brothers, too. You're the old dog now, but, you got a couple of other ones running around, about the only ones that could fit in your shoes, actually. You guys, fortunately for your parents, they had 3 7-footers, so the hand-me-downs still worked.
It still worked, and now I'm trying to get hand-me-downs back this way. I'm trying to see if that's not a full circle. That's a one-way street.
They're not paying it
I'm
forward.
still waiting to see if they have some hand-me-downs for me.
Yeah, they're not paying it forward. But Tyler got his feet wet a little bit in the playoffs this season. Have you been paying a little bit of attention to the playoffs? I'm sure you have.
Oh, yeah. And, for Cody to be able to get in last year and Tyler to be able to get in this year, I think both of them continue to progress and develop. Tyler's in a great situation in Boston, and Tyler has just a great he's able to be resilient no matter what, whether it's playing time, opportunities and plays, whatever it is. He's one of the most resilient people I know, and just continues to be resilient. No matter what his situation, he's consistent. And I think people are really seeing that and continuing to be rewarded for that. Cody's just got potential out the roof. I mean, we always said growing up, if there was a new sport created today, Cody'd be the best at it tomorrow. He's just got this natural ability and knack for things that just really allow him to be able to excel at an unbelievable rate. And, I continue to say sky's the limit for Cody, and he had a good year, got his shoulder dinged up into the year, but that's part of it, and he'll bounce back and be even better.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to get your thoughts on, watching the playoffs, there's nothing more exciting than those tight games, and it makes it even tenfold when it gets to playoffs. We had a full weekend a couple of weekends ago of just buzzer beaters all weekend. Paul Pierce had one. LeBron had one. I can remember a shot from a kid called Luke Zeller in the 2005 state championship game from half court to beat Plymouth. Tell me a little bit of what's that feel like? Because for a fat guy like me, I've never hit a buzzer beater.
I guess me being the optimistic guy I am, the optimism never goes away, and that competitive nature never goes away. You start to, well, first of all, I'd been doing it in my backyard since I was about, 6. and nobody was guarding me, but I was using my imagination just like every other kid in Indiana. And to be able to actually do it is something that's special from a standpoint of what I was able to represent from a small community and being able to be prepared with my team where we had practiced that play. Now, it wasn't to get it at half court, but you adjust quickly. And being able to do those things. And then at the end of the day, it's, you just have a lot of practice and preparation. And Coach just told me to make sure you put a dribble down and shoot a jump shot. Don't just heave it up there. So it was a little longer jump shot than I'm used to, but it was still just a jump shot. So, but there's nothing. If you can have the perspective in life, if you're down one with 1.8 seconds left, you got to go the full length of the court. There's nothing that's probably going to get tougher than that. And so I guess that's where my ultra optimism comes from now, because I've seen things end up where you win, and the winning can be a lot of different things. You can win at the workplace if you get all your emails down, or you can win at win at how you do things the right way and you stand up for what you believe in, whether it's your character or being honest or doing the right thing. And when you can realize that making those tough decisions and making those game-winning plays, you can end up winning. You start believing in things that are bigger than yourself and believing in things that are that's kind of that, like Kevin Garnett when they won it a few years ago just kept saying anything is possible. You get that kind of feeling. I think that's why we love sports and love the buzzer beaters and love some of those things, because you start believing that anything's possible.
Talking to Luke Zeller, our guest on the Menard Studio Hotline. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 1053 online, ESPNEvansville.com. So when you say you were practicing that shot when you were about 6, what did that make you about? Were you about 6'4" by that point?
I practiced in my yard. I'll never forget. I used to draw out full brackets in sidewalk chalk and play out like a bracket of like 16 against myself. I always won, so that was good.
My son does that same stuff.
I'd play 1-on-0. I'd be Reggie Miller for a little bit, playing against Rick Smith, and I'd just play offense on both of them. And then I'd always hit buzzer beaters. And one of the biggest benefits from the basketball fundamental standpoint is my dad actually drew a three-point line on our goal in our yard, in our driveway. He drew the three-point line at 16 feet. And so when I was growing up, instead of having my shot form really get to something that was negative, I shot 16-footers and acted like it was a 3. And so then as I got stronger and my form was correct and kind of grew up with that, then I started shooting 3. And for me, from the time I was a freshman in high school to a senior in high school, I went from 185 pounds to 240 just from working out and eating lots of mom's cooking. And so being able to do that, my high school coach still says, he said, the way you shot that 3 at half court was the same way you shot threes your freshman year. He said, you just had 60 pounds of muscle to add on to it. And I think there's a lot of things that you can kind of learn and recognize from what that preparation and that perseverance over a long period of time can allow you to be able to do. But it's not something that happens overnight. It takes more effort and more work than that, but it's also more rewarding.
When you sit and you watch Cody and you watch Tyler play, do you guys, is there texts, is there calls immediately after the game? Is it every so often? Do they reach out to you for like, hey, how did you think it went tonight? Or do you give unsolicited advice after the fact, like maybe a quick text, good game, or you could have done this better? What's the relationship there like?
One of the best things now as an older brother, and I've got a 2-year-old son, I'm starting to figure out this dad thing a little bit. I'm still probably in the rookie freshman level.
There's always, let me tell you this.
One of the biggest things is Dad tells a story in the book that my parents wrote, and he tells a story of one time we drove. I was playing for Spieth in Fort Wayne, and we drove back. And the whole way back, my dad was giving me advice. He was telling me what I need to do better. He was, giving me all these tips and talking about all these things the whole way back. And so finally we got to Spencer at the little McDonald's there. And so we get out, and Dad says, I turned and asked him, Dad, did I do anything right? And we'd been in the car for 3 hours. And so Dad had been thinking he's coaching me and giving me advice and everything else. And so from that time forward, and Dad talks about this at camp, is that he actually would wait until I asked him what he thought. And so that's kind of been my stance with Tyler and Cody, too. I mean, if they ask me what I think, I got plenty of advice and plenty of ideas. But until they ask, it makes a difference when they want that. And, I think there's plenty of things, but both of them have excelled to an incredible level. And one of the most important things is there's plenty of people, whether it's social media or anything else, that'll tear you down. Yeah. Sometimes you need somebody just to say, good job.
Right.
And so I guess that's the big brother in me. It's really proud of both of them. They really excel through a lot of different situations and continue to. So I just try to really encourage them and something I've learned just from coaching and being at camps and from coaching, if somebody does something, whether it's in business or in basketball, if somebody does something that you like, or you think, hey, that's a good job, then tell them that. And don't let it go missed. So, if they do a great job and score 25 points, I'm going to tell them good job. They have 2 points the next night, they might not hear from me, unless they want to. Yeah. But you get a lot of those, a lot of the stuff to figure out is basketball is such a mental game. At that level, you're able to do a lot of things because you practice them. it's about the mental side of decision making and being able to shot selection, being able to be in the right position. Your footwork. It's a lot of those little things. So that's a lot of little things that sometimes you can pick up when you're watching more than when you're playing.
Let me real quick. I've got an 8 and a 10-year-old at home, and I know you said you're still a rookie at this whole dad thing. Just when you have it figured out, I don't want to ruin it for you. They'll give you a new wrinkle, and you'll go, I have no idea what I'm doing. What I've learned, as long as you can keep them alive, you're doing all right. Yeah, as long as you can keep them alive, you're doing something right. Luke Zeller, our guest. Go ahead.
That's my win-loss column too. That's what my wife leave me at home with him. I say, hey, baby, he's still alive. Well,
what more do you want?
Well, he ate fruit snacks and Cheetos, and I said, he kept asking for mac and cheese. I was just trying to give him what he wants. So I don't know what's wrong with mac and cheese 3 times a day, but evidently my wife straightened me out. So thankful for her. My son will grow up big and strong. Maybe in spite of me.
What is he? He's probably at 2 years old. If he's a Zeller, I was going to say he's about 5'2" by now, isn't he?
Yeah,
probably.
So here's a fun one. My wife's 5'2", and we figured out that I was taller than my wife in 2nd grade. And we always get a kick out of that. So I have no idea how tall my son's going to be, but he's in like the 95th percentile or 90th percentile, and he's enjoying. We're already starting to work on his jump shot. So working on his balance, his eyes, his elbows, and his follow-through. And I actually try to do that at dinner as well, making sure that he has good form when he eats, because I think it can translate all the way across. Maybe overdoing it, but, it's good for him.
Keep him active anyway.
That's right.
Hey, exactly. We're keeping him. We do defensive slides at home around the couch. We actually have cones at the house. And he'll do defensive slides around the couch. And then we're still working on taking a charge. It seems to be easier with a diaper on, so I don't know if that's something that they should recommend for the NBA players. But it seems like he falls pretty well taking a charge with a diper on.
I don't know how many NBA players you're going to find to wear a diaper, but there might be a lot of them in one in about 30 years.
I just got ideas.
I'll tell you what.
I don't care if everybody likes them. I just got ideas.
It sounds like a great promotional opportunity for Depends.
It does. Yeah. It does. And they can get wrapped up in the game there somewhere. Hey, we got 4 teams left, Luke, in this NBA Finals. Looks like we're pretty much down to our 2. I don't see anybody coming back from that kind of hole. But who you got to win it all? Can LeBron take Cleveland where they need to go, or is it Curry and the Warriors?
I respect and appreciate so much the way that Golden State plays and shares the ball and makes the extra pass. You look at Klay Thompson's numbers for this series that have been down, and all of a sudden Steph Curry goes down last night. I think he hit 4 threes in a row right as soon as they went down, and the way they pick each other up, and it's always next man up. I just always, being able to play for the Spurs for a while, you're able to see that culture, that team culture. I just feel like Golden State's got that edge on that team culture, but I really think it'll go down to about 6 games. I don't think it'll be a quick series. I really think it'll go down to quite a few, but I just got to imagine the way that they just move the ball so well and share it. They really don't care who's scoring, and it makes it so good. But then you look at on the other side, it's LeBron and the Cavs are not going to lay down easy. I think Kyrie Irving coming back from injury is going to be an important piece of that, and how is he at 80%? Is he at 90% when he comes back? So I think there's a lot of factors. I haven't heard today, but Steph Curry took a heck of a fall last night.
Yeah, he did. We talked about it earlier.
I've had my fair share of concussions, and I'm surprised he got back up from that one, because that's you hit your neck and head like that one. That one's you can start seeing stars and forgetting where you're at pretty quick.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to ask you about it. When, as a player, and you have that kind of an injury, like they called it last night, they didn't rule that he had a concussion, but the initial diagnosis was basically a bruise. He had a bruise on his head. A contusion was what they used. But you mentioned that you've had a couple of concussions in your day. When that happens in a game, is it on the player? How bad do you try to make it to where you can get yourself back in the game?
Because I can pass a concussion test with a concussion. If they're asking if you're okay, I actually had a situation that they asked me if I was okay, and I said, well, yeah, shut up and put me back in.
Right.
And I was into the game, but I had a concussion. I don't even remember saying it. So that's actually pretty dangerous, but now it's funny. But that was before all the concussion stuff came out. That was probably That was a while ago.
Yeah.
But now the concussion testing, you've got to pass a series of tests and be able to. The biggest one is they'll give you like 3 words that have no correlation to each other, 3, maybe 4 words. Because we actually started doing this at camp too. We actually had a kid fall last weekend at camp when I put him through the concussion test. Just on checking those and double checking because we want to be careful. I mean, even with kids anymore,
right?
And so we had a trainer there that was going through, and we made sure we put them through. But you'll get 3 words or 4 words that are disassociated, and so it could be apple, barn, and cow. I guess barn and cow could be associated, but anyway, then you'll talk for a little while, and then after they'll ask you where you're at, they'll ask you what day it is, they'll ask you all these questions. And then you have to recall those, so they kind of distract you a little bit. Well, if you've had a concussion and any kind of things going on, you're not going to be able to recall what's going on. And so that's one kind of surefire test that they do, and there's a number of other ones just on functional movement and being able to. The one concussion I had, I remember I had to. They had me kind of bend over and touch my toes and then stand up real quick, and I got real dizzy and couldn't stand up straight. So there's a couple of different ones that they do to be able to check those, but you'd rather be safe. I mean, that's something you don't want to mess with. And, but yeah, so he had to pass all those tests to get back out there.
Now, do you have a problem with him coming back in the game? When he shot that air ball coming back in, and a lot of people on Twitter and whatnot, which is, a great place for everybody's opinion to find its way there, regardless of what it is. But a lot of people had an issue with him coming back in. As a former NBA player, do you have a problem with him coming back on the floor?
Hey, their training staff gets paid big money, and they would be at fault for not having to be on there. As a competitor, I mean, I broke my nose. It was under my left eye. I broke that thing back into place, and I was going to go back out there. Training staff wouldn't let me. But as a competitor, if the training staff says you're good to go, you're going. And then you add it in that you're in the playoffs. I got no problem. As long as they're clearing you, they've got their tests, and they've got medically to be able to make sure that those things are right and safe. Now, the flip side of the story is what happened at the University of Michigan. I mean, there's 2 sides of every story, but it seems like that he passed all the tests and put him back in. I don't have a problem with him going back in because there's something about him going back in. Now this next game, there's no question he's going to play.
Right.
So I think there's something sometimes, especially in games like that where they got down 15-20, games like that, you're playing to get your team culture and your team attitude and your team perspective ready for your next game because it's bigger than just that game. And it's bigger than just that playoff game. I mean, you want to make sure that your team is fine-tuned and, you get some of your guys that are getting some good minutes that wouldn't typically get minutes and getting in a rhythm so that now your second team's in a good rhythm for the next game. Your first team's rested. I mean, so there's some other pieces going on. It's kind of as a coach or as your front office staff are looking at that big picture perspective. And I think the training staff got that.
Luke Zeller, our guest. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3 and online, ESPNEvansville.com. Luke's Distinction Youth Basketball Camp coming to the downtown YMCA here in Evansville in just, a week from Thursday, isn't it? June 4th through the 6th. Still some room to get your kids signed up if you're interested. Distinxion.org. That's DISTINXION.org. Luke, great stuff. Next time you're in town, stop by. We'll talk again soon.
Love to. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time, guys. I always enjoy being on here with you. Always enjoy talking sports and enjoy the opportunity to continue partnering with Town Square Media and everybody there involved to work at Distinction and be able to make a difference for these kids and giving them a chance to teach character. I know we're also working with the Dunning Green Branch YMCA, and Old National Bank has been very gracious, and Raven Tire as well, to provide scholarships for some kids that can't afford it. So that's been awesome, and then being able to partner with you guys to be able to keep doing it and making a difference. So it's fun to be able to do that. I really enjoy that.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. Enjoy the rest of your day, and again, we'll talk soon.
Oh, thanks. I'm going to go do some defensive slides with my son while I make some dinner. So,
right. Thanks, Luke.
I'll be pretty busy tonight.
Take care. Thanks, Luke. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.